The stars looked quiet in the distance, shining like tiny lights over the dead moon. The salvage crew's ship, Greyhawk, moved slowly through the cold darkness, heading toward a massive object floating ahead. It was a warship, huge, black, and silent like a sleeping giant in space. Ray, the captain of the Greyhawk, stood at the front window of the bridge. She crossed her arms and narrowed her eyes. "There it is," she said. "Our job." Behind her, a tall man named Bren chuckled. "Hard to believe someone just left that thing floating out here." "It's a warship," said Ray. "Looks intact, too. That means good tech, rare parts, maybe even some core drives. We take it apart, load up, and go home rich." The job had come from a broker who didn't give his name. Just coordinates, a warning not to speak of the mission, and a promise of big money. Too big, really. But money was tight, and the Greyhawk crew was known for taking risks others avoided. The rest of the crew 6 in total gathered around the briefing table. Ree laid out the plan. "We dock, sweep for traps or hazards, then start removing. Anything valuable, stay in pairs, no one wanders off, got it?" Everyone nodded. They were professionals. Salvaging forgotten ships wasn't new to them. Still, the size of this warship made them feel small. It had sharp angles, heavy armor, and strange markings in a language none of them could read. Once docked, they entered the warship through a side airlock. The lights inside flickered slowly, casting long shadows across the metal walls. Dust floated in the air like tiny stars. It smelled like rust and something older, something dry and ancient. "This place is too clean," muttered Kay, the ship's tech expert. He tapped a wall. No mold, no rot, not even a broken pipe. Ree looked around. The corridors were wide, designed for large creatures, maybe even armored ones. Everything felt too quiet. No signs of a battle, no signs of a crew. Just empty. Halls and closed doors. They split into teams. Ray and Bren moved toward the command center. Kay and Lena headed for the engine room. The rest explored the storage decks. As Ray moved through the halls, her boots echoed against the metal floor. She noticed small things working: emergency lights, sealed bulkheads, even a powered-down holographic display. This ship wasn't dead, it was sleeping. They reached the bridge. The control panels were ancient, but well-maintained. Ree tapped a few buttons, and to her surprise, some of the ship's systems powered up. "This thing still has juice?" she whispered. "More than juice," said Bren. "Look." A large screen came alive, showing the ship's name in alien script. Underneath it, the system translated. "Imperial vessel, Starfire of the Flame Throne." Ray blinked. "Imperial? From the Zarn Dominion?" Bren nodded slowly. "I thought their empire collapsed 30 years ago." "It did," said Ray, "and all their ships were destroyed, or so they said. They tried opening more files, but most were locked under security levels far above anything they could break." Bren frowned. This wasn't just a warship. It was something important. Suddenly, a loud crack echoed through the ship. Ree grabbed her cum. "Everyone, check in!" Kay's voice came back shaky. "We're okay, but a door slammed behind." "US, something triggered." "Stay where you are," said Ray. "We'll regroup in 20 minutes. Back in the hallways, Lena stared at strange symbols carved into one of the doors. They looked like warnings, or maybe prayers. She touched one, and the panel next to it lit up briefly, then shut down again. "This ship isn't just old," she sighed. "It's protected." Elsewhere, one of the junior crew members, Jace, found a large locked door near the center of the ship. It was different from the others, round, smooth, and made of dark metal that didn't reflect light. He radioed. "Ray, I found something," he said. "Might be a vault." "Mark the location." "Don't open it," Ray warned, but curiosity got the better of him. Jace placed a charge and stepped back. The door cracked open with a hiss, revealing a chamber lit by a soft red glow. Inside, it was quiet and cold. A large pod stood in the center, surrounded by ancient tech and glowing symbols. Inside the pod lay a figure tall, armored, unmoving. Jace stared. "Captain, I think I found someone." Back on the bridge, Ray's heart sank. "Someone? As in alive?" "I don't know, but he's not decayed. He looks perfect." like he just went to sleep. Seal the chamber. Don't touch anything, Ray ordered. We're not alone on this ship. But it was already too late. From somewhere deep inside the ship, a system stirred. Lights flickered brighter. A low hum began, like the growl of something waking up after a long rest. The warship was no longer silent. As Ray stood on the bridge, she could hear the hum through her boots, the deep sound of ancient machines waking up after years of sleep. Lights along the ceiling flickered to life, one by one, as if the ship had sensed its new guests. Status report, Ray said over the comms. Her voice was calm, but her eyes were sharp. We're still in the engine room, Kay answered. Half the systems here are running now. I didn't do anything. It just started. I think we triggered something, Lena added. The ship isn't dead, it's waiting. Waiting for what? Ray thought, but didn't say out loud. Jace's voice came through next. The chamber with the pod, it's glowing now. The armor on the figure, it's moving, like it's breathing. Bren looked at Ray, concern growing in his eyes. We should leave. I agree, she said, but I need more answers before we run. They started pulling data from the bridge consoles again. Most of it was encrypted, but Ray found an old maintenance log still readable. It listed the ship's systems, and one line caught her eye. Sovereign Preservation Chamber, status, stable, authorization. Emperor only. She whispered the words out loud. Emperor, Bren leaned closer. Are you telling me that pod Jace found has the Emperor inside it? Ray stared at the screen. If that's true, we're not just on any warship. We're on the personal vessel of the last ruler of the Zarn Dominion. But he died in the final battle, Bren said. They said his body was never found. Maybe because it was here. Hidden. Suddenly, alarms echoed throughout the ship. Not loud ones, quiet, deep, and steady. The kind that weren't meant to warn of danger, but to announce something. Reed didn't like it. Then Kay called again, this time with panic in his voice. Captain, there's something wrong with the AI system. It was offline before, now it's running, and it's watching us. Reed grabbed the console. What do you mean watching? The cameras are moving, Kay said. One just turned and followed me. I saw it. Before Ray could reply, the lights on the bridge changed. A soft blue glow filled the room. Then a voice, calm, deep, and mechanical, spoke through the speakers. Unauthorized presence detected. Identify yourselves. Ray took a step back. This is Captain Ray of the salvage vessel Greyhawk. We are here under contract to dismantle this ship. No salvage order is recognized. This vessel belongs to the Emperor. State your clearance. Code, Ray tried to keep calm. We don't have clearance. We thought this ship was abandoned. There was a pause. Then the voice said something chilling. Prepare for containment. The Sovereign is stirring. Suddenly, the doors on the bridge slammed shut. Ray and Bren were trapped. Across the ship, other doors locked too. JACE, standing near the cryo chamber, saw the pod's glass cover glow brighter. Inside, the figure's eyes moved, slowly, but they moved. He stepped back. Captain, he's waking up. I don't think we're supposed to be here. Back on the bridge, Ray pulled out her emergency toolkit. Start cutting, she told Bren. We're not staying here. Bren activated the plasma cutter and began slicing the door. Sparks flew. Meanwhile, in the engine room, Kay and Lena worked fast to shut down the AI. If we can overload the system just long enough, maybe the locks will release, Kay said. Lena typed quickly. I've never seen code like this. It's half machine, half organic. Then they heard footsteps, not from their crew. Not human. Clank, clank, clank. Something was moving through the lower levels of the ship. Something heavy. Lena whispered. What if the ship isn't the only thing waking up? Back near the chamber, Jace watched the pod crack open. A thin mist poured out. The armored figure inside took a breath, slow and strong. Then it opened its eyes. Golden. Powerful. And very aware. Jace froze. The man, or whatever he was, looked directly at him. Then he spoke in a calm, royal voice. Where am I? Jace stammered. You're on your ship. We thought it was abandoned. The Emperor stepped out, his movement slow but sure. How long have I slept? I don't know, decades? The Emperor nodded slightly. My empire. Is it gone? Jace didn't know what to say. He simply nodded. There was silence. Then the Emperor looked up and said softly, Then I must rise again. Ray and Bren finally cut through the bridge door and rushed out. We're pulling out, Ray said into her comms. Everyone meet at the docking bay, now. But the AI voice returned. You may not leave. The Sovereign has awakened. You will remain. Override that. Ray shouted. Kay's voice replied, I'm trying. We need 5 more minutes. The floor beneath Ray shook. Systems were powering up. Guns, shields, engines. The ship was no longer just waking, it was preparing for war. Bren looked back at the bridge. We're not alone anymore. Ray tightened her grip on her cutter. And we were never supposed to find this place. She didn't say the last part out loud, but she knew it was true. They had just stepped into something much bigger than South. The heavy doors to the docking bay slid open with a slow hiss. Ray and Bren were the first to arrive, breathing hard. Behind them, the ship's lights had turned red. Not blinking, not flashing, just a steady, deep red glow. It felt like a warning. Or a promise. Jace's voice came through the comm. Captain, the man in the pod. He's awake. Ray stopped. Is he hostile? No, not yet. He's calm. He's asking questions. I told him the truth. Bren looked uneasy. You told him the Zarn Empire is gone? Jace replied, Yes. He just nodded. He seems more curious than angry. Ree didn't like it. A sleeping emperor waking up in a dead empire? That never ended well in stories. Keep your distance, she said. Don't provoke him. Kay and Lena joined them next, tools in hand. Kay looked pale. The AI is fully active now. It's tied to the Emperor's vitals. The ship responds to him breathing, moving, defending. We noticed, Ray said. Any luck on regaining control? None, Kay admitted. This ship runs on tech we don't fully understand. I tried rerouting commands. It locked. Me out, Lena added. There's something else. The ship's memory core holds something big. Files marked as Imperial Eyes Only. One of them is called the Fall Protocol. That name chilled Ray more than the red lights did. Before they could say more, footsteps echoed from the corridor. Everyone turned. Jace stepped in first, and behind him came the Emperor. He was tall, wearing sleek armor that shimmered like polished stone. His eyes glowed gold, but not brightly. They were calm and tired, ancient, as if he had lived too many lives already. He walked slowly, looking at the humans. He didn't reach for a weapon. He didn't give orders. He simply spoke, I am Kareth. Zul, last Emperor of the Flame Throne. You are not my people. Who are you? Ray stepped forward. I'm Ray, captain of the salvage crew. We were hired to dismantle this ship. We didn't know what it was. Kareth looked around the docking bay. And yet, you opened my tomb? Why? We didn't know what was behind that door, Ray answered honestly. It looked important. We got curious. The Emperor nodded slowly. Curiosity is not always safe, Captain. A heavy silence followed. Then Ray asked the question on everyone's mind. What now? You're awake. The Dominion is gone. What do you want to do? Kareth walked past them and looked through the glass window out into space. His face showed no anger, no sadness, just thought. When I was betrayed, I gave the order to put me into stasis. This ship became my tomb, hidden from both enemies and allies. He looked back at them. But someone found me, not my people. Not my enemies? You? Ray stayed calm. So what does that mean? It means fate has chosen strange messengers, Kareth said softly. And perhaps strange allies. The words confused her. Allies? Kareth walked slowly toward the central control panel. This ship carries something far more important than me. It holds the final piece of the Flame Throne. If it falls into the wrong hands, war could begin again. What kind of piece? Kay asked. Kareth looked at him. The crown. Everyone stared, Ray asked. You mean a real crown? It is more than metal, Kareth said. It holds Ancient code, DNA locks, genetic memories. Whoever wears it becomes the voice of the Empire. There are still loyalists out there, hiding, waiting. Lena stepped forward. And if they find out you're alive, they will come, Kareth said, nodding. Some to protect me, others to control me, and some to kill me. Ree rubbed her forehead. This just got a lot more complicated. Suddenly, the ship's sensors beeped. A soft alarm sounded. Unknown vessel approaching, said the AI voice. Zarn's signature, war class. Ree ran to the screen. It showed a ship sleek, armored, fast, not large but dangerous. Definitely not friendly, Kareth stared at the image. They found us? Too soon? Who are they? Ray asked. Kareth's eyes narrowed. The Loyal Flame. They were once my most trusted commanders. After my fall, they swore they would bring order back, but their order is built on fire and fear, Bren frowned. What will they do when they get here? Kareth answered without hesitation. They will try to take this ship? And me, if I refuse, they will destroy everyone. Ray stepped closer to him. Can you stop them? I can speak to them, Kareth said. But words may not be enough. They will not believe a human crew. Woke me without planning something. And what about us? Jace asked. They will kill you, Kareth said plainly. To erase the story. Silence fell again. Ray looked at her crew. Tired, confused, afraid. They hadn't signed up for this. They had come for parts, not for a war, but now they were part of something much bigger. What if we help you? Ray asked. What if we stop them together? Kareth looked at her, surprised. You would fight for an empire not your own? No, Ree said, but I'll fight to survive. And maybe, if you're telling the truth, to make sure history doesn't repeat itself. Kareth nodded slowly. Then we have no time to waste. He stepped forward and placed his hand on a glowing panel. The ship responded instantly. Weapons powered up. Shields shimmered. Systems aligned. This ship still answers to me, Kareth said. Let's see if it remembers how to fight. Outside, the Loyal Flame ship prepared to dock inside. Humans and the enemy ship was getting closer. Ray stood on the bridge beside Emperor Kareth, watching the screen. The Loyal Flame vessel moved with confidence. It wasn't large, but it was fast and deadly. And now it was only minutes from docking with the ancient warship. Kareth's voice was steady. Their leader is Commander Varn. He was once my most loyal general, but now I do not know what he has become. Ray turned to her crew. We need to prepare. This ship is still waking up, but we need defenses in place. Bren locked down the lower decks. Kay, get what weapons you can online. Lena, secure the engine room. And me? Asked Jace. Ray looked at him seriously. Stay close to the Emperor, Jace nodded. He wasn't sure how he felt about protecting someone who had once ruled an empire. But he trusted Ray, and he had seen Kareth's calm, quiet strength. Kay worked fast at the control console. Shields are weak, but I got some of the turrets working. If they try anything from outside, we can hit them, Bren spoke next. If they dock, they'll come in hard, close quarters. We'll need to block the docking bay entrance. I'll handle that, Ray said. We just need to buy time. Kareth placed his hand on a control panel again. His presence seemed to activate systems faster. The ship responded to his touch like a living thing. Your ship obeys you, Ray said. It knows who I am, Kareth replied. But I cannot fight alone. Just then, the ship shook. A loud clang echoed through the walls. They've docked, said Kay. They're forcing the airlock open. Ray took a deep breath. Here we go. The docking bay filled with steam. As the airlock doors slid open, figures in black armor stepped through tall, sharp-eyed Zarn soldiers. They moved with purpose. In front of them walked Commander Varn. He was older than Kareth, remembered, more scarred, more cold. His golden armor was trimmed with red and his eyes glowed blue. He held a staff with a crest at the top, the symbol of the flame throne. Kareth. Zul, Varn said, raising his voice, I knew you would return. Kareth stepped forward, calm and proud. And I knew you would come for me, Varn tilted his head. You vanished in our darkest hour. Some say you were betrayed. Others say, you ran. I chose silence over civil war, Kareth answered. But I see the war continued without me. Varn raised his hand. His soldiers stopped. You are awake. You are alive. That means the throne can rise again, Varn said. Come with us, my emperor. We will make the galaxy remember your name. And if I refuse? Kareth asked. Varn's eyes narrowed. Then I will carry your crown myself. Rey and her crew stood behind Kareth, tense but ready. Bren held a plasma cutter like a weapon. Kay had a small blaster. Lena had a heavy wrench. Humans weren't soldiers, but they had survived worse. Kareth looked at Varn. You speak of honor, but your voice is full of ambition. You would lead the Empire in my name. But not for the people, for yourself. You left a hole, Kareth. Varn said, and I filled it. If you do not want the crown, give it to someone who does. The soldiers raised their weapons. Before anyone fired, Kareth raised his voice. Stop, the ship responded instantly. Lights flared. Turrets hidden. In the walls pointed at Varn's soldiers. A warning, you are on my ship, Kareth said. You do not give orders here. Varn's smile faded. Then everything happened at once. Varn shouted, take them! Kareth activated the ship's defense mode. Barriers dropped from the ceiling. A blast of light threw the enemy soldiers backward. Rey and Bren opened fire. Kay hit a control and locked one of the side doors. Lena swung her wrench and knocked down a soldier trying to flank them. Jace dragged Kareth behind cover. We need to move. Kareth didn't panic. He placed his hand on the wall again, and the ship responded. Follow me, he said. There's a safer chamber ahead. They ran through the halls as red lights flashed and the ship's AI voice repeated, intruder alert, intruder alert. Rey and her team followed Kareth into a sealed command room. Once inside, heavy doors closed behind them. They were safe for now. Breathing heavily, Rey turned to Kareth. So what now? Kareth walked to the center of the room and touched a panel. A small platform rose from the floor. On it sat an object. Covered in a cloth, he removed the cloth. The crown. It was beautiful silver and black, shaped like fire frozen in metal. It pulsed with soft light, as if it were alive. This is what they want, Kareth said. The crown of flame, whoever wears it controls the loyalty of the Empire's old war machines. Jace's eyes widened. That's how powerful it is. Kareth nodded. Even without the Empire, there are still fleets hidden in deep space. Ships sleeping like this one. The crown can wake them. Rhys stepped forward. And you're not. Wearing it? Why? Because power is dangerous? Kareth said. And I needed to see the world first, see if it was worth returning to. Rey looked at him. And what do you think now? Kareth looked at her, then at her crew, humans. Salvagers, fighters. I think the galaxy has changed, he said. But some things remain the same: greed, control, fear. I must stop Varn, but I cannot do it alone. Rey nodded. Then we stop him together. The crew looked at each other, and they agreed. Outside, Varn regrouped with his soldiers. Inside, the Emperor stood with humans. The room shook as another explosion rocked the ship. The loyal flame forces were not giving up. They had regrouped and were now trying to blast their way into the sealed command room. Inside, Rey's crew stood ready. Kareth, the awakened Emperor, remained calm, but even he knew time was short. We cannot hold this room forever, Bren said, gripping his tool-turned weapon. They're trying to burn through the door, Kay added. 10 more minutes and they'll be inside. Rey looked at Kareth. What options do we have? Kareth stared at the crown resting on the platform. If I put it on, I can activate the ship's full defense system. We might be able to stop them, but once I wear the crown, everything changes. How? Rey asked. The ship won't just follow my voice. It will follow my thoughts, Kareth said. And the Empire systems across space, those still hidden, may begin to awaken. Some loyal, some not. Jace stepped forward. But if you don't, they'll take the crown, right? Yes, Kareth replied. And if Varn wears it, he'll control this ship and possibly more. Silence filled the room for a moment, then Ray made a choice. Then we help you. You don't want the throne, and we don't want a galaxy full of war. Let's stop him together. Kareth nodded slowly. Very well. He stepped forward and picked up the crown. The silver metal gleamed in the red light. He took a deep breath, then placed it on his head. The ship responded instantly. The walls lit up. The lights turned white. Doors sealed tighter. Defense systems activated with a deep humming sound. In the distance, the AI spoke. Emperor confirmed. Sovereign control restored. Defense systems online. Kay looked at the screens. It's working. Their access is blocked. They can't break in. But Kareth looked uneasy. Varn will try something else now. He knows brute force won't work anymore. Just then, the ship's sensor beeped. A smaller signal showed movement coming from inside the warship, not outside. Kay frowned. That's not one of us, Lena gasped. No, that's Halen's ID tag. Halen was the youngest member of the crew, quiet, smart, always observing. He's alive? Bren asked. He must have been hiding, Ray said. But why is he moving now? Suddenly the main screen blinked. A video message appeared. Halen. But something was wrong. He wasn't wearing his salvage gear. He was in dark armor. And behind him stood two of Varn's soldiers. Hello, Captain Ray, Halen said with a cold voice. I didn't expect it to come to this. Ree stepped closer, confused. What are you doing? I never worked for the broker, Halen said. I worked for Varn. He sent me months ago to watch for signs of the Emperor's tomb. You betrayed us? Jace asked, stunned. I was protecting something bigger than you understand, Halen said. We were never meant to wake him. We were only meant to take the crown. Kareth stood silent, watching. He seemed disappointed but not surprised. You think you can rule in my place? Kareth asked. No, Halen replied. I think Varn can. The video ended. Alarms rang again. He's in the engine room, Tay said, eyes wide. He's trying to shut down the ship's core. If he disables it, the ship will go dark and they'll take control again. Ree didn't hesitate. Bren, Kay, come with me. Jace and Lena stay with the Emperor. If anything happens to him or that crown, it's over. They ran. In the engine room. Halen worked fast. The core glowed in the center, protected by shields. But he had bypass codes. The loyal flame had planned for this. Suddenly the door burst open. Ree and her team stormed in. Halen turned. Don't do this, Ray. You don't understand what's coming. The galaxy needs control. It needs order. It doesn't need tyrants, Ray said. And it doesn't need traitors. They charge. Halen tried to fight, but he was one and they were three. Kay tackled him. Bren pinned his arm. Ree smashed the control tablet in his hand. You should have stayed with us, Ray said quietly. Halen looked up, eyes burning. You'll regret this. No, Ray said. You will. They locked him in a storage unit and returned power to the core. The ship hummed again, alive and strong. Back in the command room, Kareth stood before the controls, silent. Jace and Lena watched him. You okay? Lena asked. I'm fine, Kareth said. But something is coming. He closed his eyes. The crown glowed. Far away. Systems responded. Old satellites blinked on. Ships in hidden hangars powered up. Forgotten bases received the signal. Not all would follow, but some would. When Ray and the others returned, Kareth opened his eyes. It started, he said. Some ships still remember me. And the rest? Ray asked. They will come, some to kneel, some to kill. Bren looked nervous. So what now? Now, Kareth said, we end this battle. He raised his hand. The ship sent out a pulse, a deep shock wave that struck Varn's ship. Shields failed. Power systems dropped. The loyal flame vessel was disabled in one move, on board. Varn stared at the dark screen. He had lost. For now, Kareth turned to Ray. You have done more than you know. This ship, the crown, they were not meant to be found. But fate chose you, Ray nodded. So what's your plan now? I will leave, Kareth said. There are old places I must visit. Loose ends I must tie, but I will return. When the time is right, Ree stepped forward. And what about us? You will be remembered, Kareth said. Not as thieves, but as the ones who woke the flame. And with that, the Emperor walked to the command platform. The ship shimmered, then vanished into the stars. Ray and her crew stood in the quiet docking bay of the Greyhawk, watching the stars. The stars were quiet again. The giant warship was gone, vanished into deep space with the Emperor aboard. Rhea and her crew stood on the deck of their own salvage ship, the Greyhawk, staring at the emptiness where it had been. No one spoke at first. No one had the right words. They had just faced an ancient empire's return, a secret war, betrayal from one of their own, and they had survived. Jace finally broke the silence. So, what now? Ray turned away from the window. Now, we clean up, fix what's broken, and decide what to do with the truth. They still had the recording systems. They had footage of Kareth, the Loyal Flames attack, and the power of the crown. If they sent that out into the galaxy, many would panic. Some would chase it, others would try to deny it. But Ray wasn't sure the universe was ready to know what had just happened. Bren walked in, holding a datapad. We've got Halen locked up. Still quiet. Kay says we can drop him at the nearest neutral station. Good. Ree replied, let someone else deal with him. Jace frowned. He was one of us. No, Ray said. He only pretended to be. Kay joined them next. Systems are all green. The ship's ready to fly. Also, we found something in the cargo bay. What now? Bren asked, tired. Kye smiled faintly. A gift. Left behind by Kareth. They all walked down to the bay. Inside was a small metal box, simple, unmarked. Reopened it carefully. Inside were 3 strange crystal cubes, each glowing faintly. What are these? Lena asked. Kay scanned one. Encoded star maps and tech blueprints, advanced stuff. Very advanced. Bren whistled. He left us treasure, Ray nodded slowly, or tools. Maybe both. There was also a small note written in Galactic Basic. For those who woke the flame, use them wisely. The stars will need people like you. They stood quietly for a moment, then Ray looked at her crew. We've got something special now. Knowledge, proof, maybe even power. But we don't use it to rule or control. We use it to help people like we always have. Jace smiled. Back to being scavengers with a heart? No, Ray said, smiling back. Scavengers with purpose. A few days later, they landed at a quiet spaceport in a neutral system. No one asked questions. They handed Halen over to local peace officers. Ree gave them no details, just that he was involved in illegal activity connected to an old warship. As they walked back to the ship, Bren asked, Do you think he'll ever talk? Maybe, Ray replied. But even if he does, no one will believe the full story. Back aboard the Greyhawk, Ray opened a private message channel. She recorded a short message. To whoever finds this, the Emperor of the Zarn Dominion is alive. He was hidden in a warship, deep in the void, and has now returned. He may want peace. He may bring change. But be warned, others will come. Some will want to control him. Some will want to destroy him. And the galaxy must choose wisely. She didn't send it out, not yet. She saved it. Just in case, weeks passed, the crew took smaller jobs. They repaired broken satellites, salvaged derelict mining rigs, helped stranded medical transport. Word spread about them, but not the full truth. People called them brave, lucky, even mysterious. Some asked if they had really seen a Zarn Emperor. They always answered with a smile and silence. One night, Ree stood alone on the bridge. The stars stretched across the window, beautiful and endless. She thought about Kareth. Where was he now? Was he building something new, or hunting those who betrayed him? Would they ever see him again? Just then, a small light blinked on the console, a message, encrypted, unknown origin. Ree opened it. A familiar voice spoke. Captain Ray, I trust you and your crew are well. I cannot share my location. But no. Your actions have changed the path of history. Some will fear it, others will follow it. The crown is not a throne. It is a test, and you passed. The message ended. No return code. No reply option. Just silence again, but Ray smiled. He's still out there. She whispered, and that was enough. Somewhere, far beyond known space, the warship floated near a hidden moon. Kareth stood at a large window, staring at stars unknown. To most, beside him stood a Zarn child, wide-eyed, curious, full of questions. "Is it true you were once a great emperor?" The child asked. Ka smiled. "That is what they say." "And are you still?" Kareth paused. "No, not yet. Not until I earn it again." He looked up at the stars, not to rule, but to protect, and far away, in another corner of the galaxy, a small human ship, the Greyhawk, jumped to another system, ready for its next unknown mission.